Hey guys, Savannah here. Blake is out gallivanting around, traveling, doing all that fun stuff. So I'm going to intro us in here for this episode where you get to meet Cassie's dad. And a couple episodes ago, if you want to head on back to episode 9, you get to meet Cassie's mom. You might hear some cool stuff that connects and their different sides of stories and such. So let's get on with the show.
Hi, and welcome to Old for My Age with Cassie, who is me, Cassie. I am happy to be back here. This is our first time recording in the pink room for 2 weeks now. So this week I'm excited to introduce my guest, my father.
Hi.
This
Listening
is my
community?
listener. There's just one.
Listener.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Listener community.
We're happy to be here, happy to be back. To give us a few updates, we got a new desk in the pink room that you can't see, but it's here. That's all that matters. Just excited to be back. So do you want to take some time to introduce yourself?
I'm Cassie's father. Sometimes.
What's your name?
Papa.
No.
Name is John.
Yeah.
Sometimes I admit she's my daughter. Sometimes I don't. But just being honest.
What do you like to do for fun?
I like basically all sports, maybe minus soccer. And I like poker, but it's not a sport like some people like to say it is. It's not. And fantasy sports leagues.
So that's what you do in your free time?
Yeah, when I can play sports and I'm not injured, yes.
For people who don't know, my dad is the middle child. He had 2 sisters, and then he got married, got a female dog, had 2 female children, had 2 female cats, and up until recently.
But what you forget is had 1 dog and 2 cats, all female, wife and 2 kids, all female.
Yeah.
And it went Emily, Cassie, Tammy, Mimi, Lizzie, Maisie, John.
Yeah.
There's a trend here, but
There is a
I kinda
trend
killed
still. And even since you got the kittens are Charlie and Frankie, even though he usually goes by Franklin, but same thing. Yeah. So my point is that you were around a lot of feminine energy up until the point that Logan came around. And when Logan came around, you were really excited. And the 2 of you were like 2 little schoolgirls and did everything together.
We played pickleball.
And you used to do other
Tennis.
stuff too. When Logan and I first started dating, I remember I would come home from work and his truck would be in the driveway. And I'm like, oh, wow, he's so sweet. He surprised me. He's coming to see me. Maybe he brought me flowers. No, he was out playing tennis.
Pickleball and tennis.
Pickleball. Or back then it was basketball. That's when you guys were playing a lot of basketball.
Yes, definitely.
You wanted sons, but got daughters. Emily and I got put in tennis and golf camp and basically anything to try to get us into sports. And
Tennis and golf camp.
yeah, we did the summer camps.
It was golf, but not
And
tennis.
Yes. I will
And
never
none
forget.
of it kicked in. Dang.
No. And I am a pretty anti pickleball and tennis because of all the years that you would bring me to the tennis courts after school and I would just have to wait while you played tennis and run around.
Wait, we'd have you be the ball girl.
No, that's not fun. That's not fun for an 8, 9, 10-year-old girl.
It is for a 5 or 6-year-old. They love to run after the ball.
Yeah. And then up until then, I was like, I never want to look at a tennis ball ever again.
Well, pickleball's not a tennis ball.
True. It's still my number 1 worst enemy.
So when I get him to play poker or get him to do fantasy leagues, that's okay though.
No, you basically, everything that you do, he does with you.
That's kind of gross, but
No, just everything sports-wise, activity-wise, you brainwashed him into being a part of.
I can't brainwash him if he wanted to do it in the first place. Did he have any siblings to do it with?
No.
Okay, so I'm a kid then instead.
Yeah,
of him
I know. That's a
instead of
whole
him
nother
being my
topic.
kid, I'm a kid.
Well, that's a whole nother topic.
Just because I'm out there playing basketball with kids less than half my age.
Yeah, that's not a brag.
That's fun.
That doesn't make you look good.
As long as I don't play bad, it does.
No, that's not a brag. But I tell people a lot of times, and they don't understand it. To me, you weren't like the regular, typical, like stereotypical dad. A lot of the times it was like having a brother rather than having a dad
And what would be worse?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just speaking on my experience, you know?
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I just said
The summer 2009, 2008, something like that. It was right after we got the Wii, so one of those years. And you had just had your first surgery,
That would have been 2009. The surgery was December of 2008.
Okay, yeah. You had just had your first rotator cuff surgery and you were home, you weren't working. Emily and I would be like, oh, can we go outside and play? And you'd be like, no. You have to beat me in Mario Kart first. Mm-hmm. Or if we wanted, like my friend Hunter, who used to spend the night, which looking back is kind of strange, but he used to spend the night and you would make him beat you in the... What
soccer.
was it? Yeah, that was the Wii Sports.
Yeah, Wii Sports soccer goalie. You got to keep the balls from going into the net. And he never beat me.
Yes, he did. He got a perfect score.
And as I did, that's not beating me. That's tying.
Well, yeah, you can't. Whatever. That's pretty much how my experience was. But it made an impression
because on your high school graduation, he wanted to come in and play Mario Kart for old time's sake.
Yeah. And then he ended up being Logan's best man at the wedding. Mm-hmm. So everything came full circle. But you're just a very hyperactive person. Always like to be doing something.
Pretty much. Yes. Pretty much. Always like sports. Got into sports, as you know, because when I was younger, I couldn't do anything because I'm epileptic and I had some massive seizures, grand mal. They used to use my EEG charts, which is the brainwave charts, to teach other classes. My doctor would take my charts and teach other classes with them when I was younger. My mother was very protective, and then finally they let me start doing stuff, so I ran with it. Basketball, baseball. Couldn't play football in leagues, but did baseball, basketball, and every other thing.
Didn't you have to sneak out of the house to go play baseball with the other kids or something like that?
Not after a while, but I used to do it at the boys' club a lot, and then there's fields out there we'd play, and especially on Thanksgiving Day. Football, massive football games.
So let me get this straight. You weren't sneaking out to do drugs. You were sneaking out of the house to go play sports.
Yes, definitely. Or I just wouldn't come home. I'd just stay out late. And I had to leave my shoes on the porch because...
They smelled?
Bad.
I can believe it.
Bad.
Logan has a separate basket in the garage where all his pickleball clothes go because they have to be washed separate. They smell so bad.
Mm-hmm. But, like you said, didn't do drugs, didn't drink, played sports.
I feel like everything has its own problem, though, because you also have a very bad temper, too. Mm-hmm. You can have a very bad temper. So, yeah, it's all fun and games until you lose your lid.
Or in somebody's supposed to be bowling and they're on their phone and getting everybody backed up. That
was not a part of the conversation at all.
Well, you said getting mad, and I was like, kind of get a little aggravated.
Yeah, you had a really bad temper, but one of the things that is redeeming about that is that... What was it, a few years ago you started going to therapy? Do you think it's helped?
I started seeing her after my first shoulder surgery.
Oh, you've been seeing her for that long?
2009.
Not a lot of men your age, or men in general, will even take that step to go to therapy.
Well, when you get injured like that, I hope people that I know do not, but shoulder surgery sucks. Knee surgery's bad, but it's...
Why did shoulder surgery make you go to therapy?
That's because after that, I couldn't do certain things that I used to do. Oh. I can't lift stuff sideways, like even a 1 pound weight, it hurts. Stuff that I was able to do easier, couldn't do it anymore because once you get your rotator cuff fixed, it's never the same. So playing sports for one. Trying to play basketball after I got over that. Couldn't lift my hand above my head. Couldn't do things that I would normally do. So that's why.
So do you have any stories from my childhood that you'd like to share? Or anything about being my father that you'd like to share?
The only thing I ever said to your mom before you two were born, you and your sister, was that I wanted healthy kids, which I got.
Nah.
And that's... No, physically healthy kids. I didn't say mentally. Didn't say mentally.
Physically, I mean, I was born 11 weeks early and I had several health issues as a child.
As of now, you are.
Daddy.
You were healthy when you were born. I got to change your first poopy diaper in the incubator. Woohoo. Nobody else can ever say that.
Sick brag. I mean, I'm sure there were other people dying to say it.
Hey, got to watch you pull out your tube on your own, but that was on your mom's episode.
You have to
also
specify what you mean by that.
In the incubator.
Yeah.
You're like me. You're very impatient. Mm-hmm. So you said, nope, done with this. Pulled out your breathing tube, Said, I'm done.
And then they kept trying to put it back in, and I would just take it back out.
Like your mom said on hers that she went into labor early. Well, she didn't say it all the way because she told me her water broke, and I told her it didn't. I told her you didn't break. You're not due for 3 months. Just go back to sleep. So, and I turned over, and then she went to the bathroom, and I reached over with my hand, and it was soaked. So I'm like, crap. So we had to grab the bag, grab your mom, and get to the hospital.
What was going through your head at that time?
I'm tired. I had been at work.
You're not even worried, like, oh, is the baby going to make it? Is my wife okay? Typical man.
I had already been through so much with you because your mom called me. Your mom called me at work bawling one day when she bled through her scrubs. And I was there at the hospital with her. I said, all I want to see is a heartbeat. Don't worry. Everything will be okay. Just want to see a heartbeat. Saw the heartbeat. And I said, I told your mom it looked like you were giving us a thumbs up when they were doing the ultrasound.
If only you had a picture of it.
If only. I got many more pictures now. So
one of the things Mom talked about on our podcast together was how you guys got together through a dating service. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to see if you had anything you'd like to add to that story, like what your perspective of it was.
Well, as I told you, you don't believe me. Most people that know me now wouldn't believe me, but I was very shy when I was younger. So I joined the dating service to meet people because I'm not a bar person. I don't go out and drink, don't do the drugs or anything like that. So I didn't meet people that way.
Don't do the drugs.
Well, trust me, they were offered to me when I was younger, and I just, no. Met your mom at the dating service. First night we went out.
Your father was also a cop, too. So
that was also a scary part. But first night we went on a double date.
A double date for the first date?
Yep.
With who?
Twyla.
I don't know if we talked about that last time.
It was a double date. It was a double date.
I guess I wasn't paying attention.
And then I think she said, I'm not positive, but when we were trying to open the door to her apartment, they threw the keys to me. It was dark. There's no lights out there. And Twyla hit me in the head with a big old massive mound of keys. And then they're all laughing, and it's in the bushes somewhere. We couldn't find it because there's no light out there. Finally found it, and they thought that your mom and Twyla were drunk. It was the perfect arrangement. Your mom worked at the movie theater, so we got into the movies for free. Her best friend worked at a restaurant, so we got everything half price. It was perfect for me.
It's so cheap.
So, I mean, we'd get the meals half off. We'd go to the movies for free. Hey, I was in heaven. But the first time I met your mom, they give us all the information on the dating service. What they do for a living, how old they are, hair color, this, that, whatever, where they work. So I went to her work once because I wanted to see ahead of time
Creeper.
what I was getting into. And I saw somebody.
So creepy.
I saw somebody else with the biggest, frizziest, poofy hair, and I'm like thinking to myself, "Do I really want to go to this date?" I do not know. And I went, and it was her friend Amy that I had seen. Thank God. She's a nice lady, nice girl, but still
nice lady, terrible
nice
hair.
Girl, but man, oh man, that would have. But no. And then your mom called up. She told me she canceled her membership with the service the next day. I called up. I got 3 more dates.
That's so bad.
And then I called back there and I left a message on her recorder, which I still get in trouble for because I said, hi, Twyla and Tammy, instead of Tammy and Twyla.
Oh.
So I caught for that for a while.
That makes sense. I would be upset with that too. You weren't dating Twyla.
I wasn't dating your mom either. I went out one time on a date. But then after that, we started seeing each other. We started going out all the time, which you try to say is bad now. Spent the time at her apartment before we were married. Blasphemy, I know.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, blasphemy. One time she wakes me up. She goes, aren't you supposed to be golfing with your dad? Like, oh my God. Flipped on some clothes because Sundays was Pop-Up's day to play golf. That's what we did.
And now next year will be 30 years of marriage.
Next year will be 29.
This year is 29.
I know when I got married.
Then why'd you say that?
Just for the heck
What
of
are
it.
you going to do for my mother for your 30th year of marriage?
I don't know. I've got over a year to think about that.
That is not a good enough answer. Because you're going to put it off to the last minute. Then text Emily and I in a group chat. What should I get your mother for our anniversary?
If I try to do something or plan something, she'll say, well, it's too hot to do it that time of the year. Sound familiar?
In November?
Yeah. Like right now it's super hot, and then in another couple months, how much do you think it's going to go down?
You know what I think you should do? I think you should upgrade her ring. That's what I think you should do, because I think she really loves her ring, but she deserves a nicer ring.
Okay.
That's what you should do. Well, you've
there's a
almost
thought.
been married 30 years. What do you have to say to people who might be newlyweds?
It's not easy. You will go through ups and downs. Sometimes it'll seem like you're going through down parts more than up, but if it's worth it, you stick it out.
Has it been better since Emily and I left the house?
It's been quieter.
Has it been better? Has it
It's
been
been
easier
cleaner.
to be married?
Yes, because now I don't have to worry about all the messes around the house, because as long as I don't make a mess, nothing gets messed. So, I've got
And
your
money. You don't
I've
have to
got
worry
your
about
old-
money as much.
Got your old room now I use for my fantasy football draft room.
Nerd.
So it's got a big fantasy football draft board taped on the wall. Cats love it in there because whenever I open the door to go in there, they just fly in there, and then I can't get them out because they go into the bed. No, it's quieter, which at times is good and other times is not. Emily was home for a few months, so that was good because I needed the help after my surgery.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for Emily, you wouldn't have gotten the kittens, which is a fun story.
Which
So,
is more money that she says the cat's her. Yes, she hasn't paid for it. She doesn't pay for any of the vet
well, let's
bills.
tell the
Doesn't pay for any
story.
of the food.
So,
Doesn't pay for any of the... But it's hers.
So the house felt lonely for a bit after our family, went through a loss of a cat. And you guys went, I wasn't there when you guys went the first night. What made you guys go to the shelter the first night?
You guys.
It was
Emily
you,
wanted
Mom,
it.
and Emily.
Emily and Kian had went and sat with the animals and let the kittens lay on them, do all that. So Emily wanted to go there and just do the same thing over here.
Just look at them.
Just look at them, this and that. So that's what we did. And then we went a second time because she wanted your mom to do the same thing and go there. And then your mom fell in love with one of the cats there.
And it was like just about 5 p.m. So they were closing, right?
Yeah, and I wasn't planning on getting a cat anyway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't worried about it. And then they said, well, if you want it, come back the next day, but you better get here early because it's first come, first serve. And this, I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I went home. I'm getting ready to watch some football. And your mom and Emily just out of the blue started rushing, getting ready, saying, we're going over there now. I said, it's already after 11 o'clock. They've already been open. The cat's already gone. And no, we got to go. So we went over there, and then you joined us as well.
Yeah. I don't remember who called me. I think it was Emily. And she was like, hey, I need you to get ready and we're going to go to the shelter. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because after Lizzie died, Mom was like, no more pets. No more pets. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to the shelter? I thought she was kidding. And then she was like, no, Mom wants you to come to the shelter. She said that you pick the best cats. And I'm like, oh, which is funny, by the way, because I was on a school trip when you guys got Lizzie. So I wasn't even there. And I was in 8th grade.
I didn't want to get the cat then either.
Well, I was in 8th grade and I had one of the little slider. It wasn't a smartphone. It was one of the slider ones with the keyboards. And I get a picture and it's like, meet our new cat. I'm like, there's no way that they got another cat. It's probably like a stuffed cat or an electric one, an animatronic one. And they're like, no, we got a cat. And I'm like, I did not believe it until I laid my eyes on that cat. But anyway, so they're like, please come to the shelter. And Mom had fallen in love with one. And there were a few that you guys were looking at. And you were kind of like, nah.
The one when you were younger, I just went there at that time. It was a month after surgery, a little over a month after surgery for the second shoulder surgery. And your sister wanted a dog. So we went in there. I just wanted to get out of her system. She walks right in the dog area and walks right through because she's a germaphobe and it smelled really bad with the St. Bernard and everything. So she didn't want no part of that. So she walked out of there, went to the cats, and we went over to the cats and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Nope, not getting nothing. And then they had a cat jump from the back of the cage to the front of the cage in the air and grab on to the bar in the air. And I was like, that was pretty cool. So they took the cat out, had me hold the cat, and she grabbed my face with both her paws. And I'm like, yeah, that was not really cool. They call me the pushover because your mom, your sister, you're such a pushover. We want one. You'll end up getting it. And like,
yeah, so she jumped on the cage, right? So then flash forward from that to, this May. And Mom had found the kitten that she liked, and he was we call him the bag of pudding because you just hold him and
But
he just stays there. Like he doesn't move.
She said, I can see you're not feeling it. So I can see you're not feeling it.
So I was like a crazy person. Every time someone said they liked a kitten, I would grab the sheet so that no one else would be able to take that one. Because they were going so quick. Like as we were petting different kittens, that they're like, oh, this one's been adopted. This one's been adopted. This one's been adopted. And it wasn't until we were just about to leave where we see this little orange kitten just screaming, like just yelling all by himself, screaming. And I'm like, I like that one. He's funny. And then he started climbing the cage. So mom was like, get your dad, get your dad. And then you went in there and sat down, and Charlie was, well, it wasn't Charlie, it was actually Gypsy was his shelter name, was all over you, and it was so cute.
You could hear that cat purring down the hallway.
So mom had picked her kitten, you had picked yours, but they were from two different...
You guys had picked mine.
Whatever.
And your mom said we were only going to get one.
Yeah.
But I said, if we're getting the one that I like, we'll get the one you like too.
Which is crazy. That's how we went from no more pets to you guys deciding to get 2 kittens. But they weren't going to let us get them because they were from 2 different litters. So they said, no, we're not going to, you can't adopt 2 cats from 2 different litters. So we were a little bit sneaky. And Emily adopted
from
Milo, which turned into Franklin. And then...
But it's officially been changed because we went in the computer
and changed it to you.
She is no longer
the owner.
The owner. No.
So then we were nervous to introduce them, but they fell in love with each other like right away.
Right away. They're always together. If one of them meows, the other one turns around and tries to figure out what's going on, and we'll run over there. But think that one's bullying the other, but they both give as good as they get.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
That's just
they usually say if you have a cat.
If it was just one cat, it would have been even worse for Maisie, the older cat, because then that younger cat, just like Lizzie when she was younger, would want to keep playing, and there was only one other animal for her to play with.
Well, Maisie's chucking along, kind of. She's not doing so hot, but she's 17 and a half. But
your mom thought she heard her the other night, but she was fine.
Yeah. But the weird thing about all of it, I don't know if we talked about this in my mom's podcast or if we found out after, that Franklin was born on Lizzie's birthday and Charlie was born 2 days after she died. I don't think we're very religious people, but it's almost like a sign.
Mom says, and she did say on the podcast, is that she feels it was destiny because she wanted Franklin. And that's the reason that we went back to the shelter is because of Franklin. He's the one that was born on Lizzie's birthday. Lizzie was, as everybody knows, my baby.
Yeah. I half-heartedly believe in everything happens for a reason. And in this situation, it does sound like it did happen. Well, no, you know what I mean. Yeah. But... yeah, that's been a big piece of sunshine in our lives lately, are those stupid kittens and the thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures of them that you have on your phone.
Just 1,000. Not thousands and thousands.
Pretty close to it. Well, another thing to talk about is something that I think will embarrass you very much on the internet. I'm going to tell the story of...
Oh, I don't care. I know what you're going to talk
Halloween
about.
2009.
And you have to explain the whole thing, though.
I will.
Explain the whole thing.
I will. So when we were younger, my sister and I were younger, we used to take turns, you and mom used to take turns on who would take us trick-or-treating. One would stay home to pass out the candy, and then the other one would go and bring the children trick-or-treating. And that year, I had a friend from middle school, so I was in 6th grade, so I'd only known this person for not even 2 months, just about 2 months, really. And I'm like, hey, you should come with me and go trick-or-treating at my house. And I don't know if I should tell this story.
Well, let's see. I tell your mom, I'm not feeling good. I don't think I should go out there. My stomach does not feel good. She goes, you're lying. Don't try to get out of it. This is your year. She likes to stay home to pass out candy because she liked to see all the different costumes.
Yeah, that came through. I get that, though. So as an adult, I get that.
So she said, no. I said, come on. And then finally I said, fine, I'll go. And as we're going trick-or-treating, I can feel the gurgling.
Ew.
And I'm telling
we get
you
like
guys,
a few houses.
and I said, you guys you need to speed it up a little bit. You need to, come on. So we went all the way down the other street, coming back home, and we got like 3 houses until ours, and I am just about to die. And
You start screaming at the top of your lungs.
And I just
go home, go to Miss Faith's house, like screaming at us. We thought you were, I don't even know what was going through our heads.
I couldn't even go in the house.
Yeah.
I had to run around the side of the house.
And then
Come on, I don't care. You said you can embarrass me. I said you can't.
And then you proceeded to poodle your pants on the
No,
side of the house.
I did not poodle my pants. I took down my pants and poodled against the house.
That's awful. We can't put that on the internet.
There was a brown spot on my maybe a year. I don't know. I had to have somebody come out and pressure wash it. You're the one. Wait a minute. Isn't she the one that says I would get embarrassed? Or is she the one embarrassed?
You should be more embarrassed by the story.
Why?
It's awful.
I said what was
How
going on.
embarrassing.
I said I wasn't feeling well. I did not lie. And instead I spent time with
traumatic.
my kids. But
God
it was a
only knows.
ball of laughs for me. It was great.
Sounds like it. You don't seem too ashamed. You should be a little bit more ashamed of that.
Why should I be ashamed?
Mr. Poo Poo Pants.
I didn't poop.
That's
my pants.
why.
You're the last person to get an X on the calendar.
If you ever... No.
It was at this moment that she knew she f***ed up.
Last person to get an X on the calendar.
No.
And that's what we now call it after
No.
that.
Stop. I don't...
You brought it up.
I know. Stop.
Don't tell me you're going to embarrass me because it's not going to happen.
Anyways, if you ever become a grandfather, I used to joke. Anyways, I used to joke with your sister, my Aunt Tracy, and my Uncle Ed that if you were ever to become a grandfather, that we would call you Poo-Paw. I think that's so funny.
Didn't matter. I just want the grandchild, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. You know, something that I should have mentioned earlier when we were talking about your epilepsy was that I am the reason that you're cured, that you haven't had a seizure in how many years? Like 25 years, like 24, 25 years. Because they changed your medication shortly before Mom got pregnant with me.
I had one doctor tell me that my medication was not affecting the sperm count. And then when we went to a different doctor, they sent me somewhere else. And he said, yes, it is. So I went back to my neurologist. He said, well, this one might possibly work because, as I said earlier, mine was not a mild case. And we tried it. And so far, it haven't had one. Don't ever want you girls to see me have one. Your mom has seen me have a few. One was pretty bad. All I'd had all day long was a peanut butter sandwich, and this was nighttime. I'm in warm-up pants, shirt, out in the field playing softball, and I could feel. That's the good thing about mine is I can always feel them coming on. I look over to the guy next to me in the outfield, and I said, "You need to get me out of here." He goes, "What? You need to get in." And of course, just like in a movie, when something like that happens, the ball is hit towards me. And then I remember walking up a couple steps, and the next thing I know, I'm in the parking lot. I got paramedics on me. Your mom told me that I was saying some very bad words to them. I don't know what I'm saying at the time, but when they try to stick a needle on the top of my hand and not knowing what's going on, I was pretty much belligerent. I felt so bad that the next shift that those firefighters or paramedics had, I went over to their station and brought them all pizza.
Oh, that was sweet.
And the guy came over to me and goes, his exact words, "Jesus Christ, you're strong." I'm like, what? He goes, "I was sitting on your leg and you were lifting me up like a rag doll." And this guy weighed about 220. And I'm like, sorry. That's all I could say was sorry. But that was probably the last bad one. I've had some mild ones since then, before you were born. A couple at the postal plant, but nothing major. Just small ones. But since you were born, nothing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. After $50,000 later, you're welcome. Yeah. You're cured. It only cost you, how many years was it that we went through insemination with you?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Quite a bit. And all the stuff, insemination.
You're welcome. That's all I need to say.
Oh.
Well, I think we We covered a variety of topics, some more embarrassing than others. Is there any closing notes you want to end on? Anything that we talked about?
Like I told you before, I wanted healthy children. I got healthy children, intelligent, beautiful kids who are funny, and they don't get that from your mom. So they must get it from
My
your
mom is
grandparents.
very funny. My mother is very funny. Don't ever insult my mother.
So, like I just said, no, I'm just happy with the family I have.
Yep. Well, we're gonna go into one of my favorite parts is opening the Lego Muppet figurine.
I'm getting the chef.
You think it's the chef?
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't touched.
Okay. Well, you get to feel it and see if you have any idea what it may be.
Flat piece.
And if it's a duplicate, you can keep it.
Well, it's not a drummer, I can tell you that.
I hope it's one we haven't gotten before.
It's flat in an area. I don't see any of those that's flat in an area.
Well, usually the bottom is flat.
I'm going to say...
You have to say it before you open it.
I'll say the chef, but I don't know.
That would be our third chef, I think.
Well, then it's probably not chef, is it?
I don't know.
Oh, the funny man. I forgot his name.
It's one of the old guys.
Yeah, funny guy.
I don't know his name either. I don't know either of their names. I just know them as the Grumpy Men.
Yeah, the grumpy
Savannah,
men.
look it up.
The grumpy men.
Wow, it's a new one. Woohoo!
See, you did get lucky.
Statler and Waldorf.
How do I know which one's which?
Their names are Statler and Waldorf, and they are known for their cantankerous opinions and shared penchant for heckling.
Like my grandpa. He's a heckler. Wow. What a
you
great
got a
way
new
to
one.
end the evening is getting a new Muppet. Well, next up is the snack attack.
That ain't happening. Easy. Wow. Getting violent. Getting violent.
Yeah, right? Emphasis on the attack, my guy. All right. You chose Rice Krispie Treats. It was your second choice.
Second choice. I was gonna say, that's not what I chose. But
Well, you did change your choice. It wasn't that we didn't get you something that you wanted. You wanted the Flips chocolate covered pretzel things, but then you said, no, I want Rice Krispie Treats. So you get to try it and then rate it out of 10.
Rice Krispie Treats? Oh, they're always a 10. You're always a 10.
Easy, hands down. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. About time, but I mean, only 14 episodes in, but hey.
I was busy.
Yeah. Inviting other people.
Well, to wrap things up, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to no longer have COVID. If you're out there and you have COVID, I'm really sorry. I hope you get better soon. I had the best, worst birthday I've ever had in my life. I only cried once, though, which is really good
You
for
were
me.
at a concert on your
I'm
birthday.
a crier. I usually cry every year on my birthday. But this year I only cried because Logan's uncle sent me a text message, and it was so thoughtful and sweet, especially with everything he's going through, that I sobbed like a baby, that he was thinking about me while going through like the worst time of his life. So yeah, cried like a baby. I did go to a concert. I saw 21 Pilots, and I would do it again, but I did not get to have my birthday party. But that's okay. Every day's a party when you're me.
But you'll get to have a Taylor Swift party.
I will be having a release party for the new Taylor Swift album's Midnights, which is something I could spend a whole episode talking about, but
Please
I will
don't.
spare the listener.
Thank you.
Well, for real this time, I'm wrapping it up. I hope you get to have a lot of vitamin D. I hope you avoid all viruses, COVID-19 included. And I hope that you get to go on a long car ride with someone you love and listen to some good music. And I hope you get to hug an animal. Toodaloo.